In working with President Ikeda on this dialogue, I thought so much about how dialogue, before I really was engaged in a dialogue seemed much more of a two-way street, that it was really between two people. And through the dialogue with President Ikeda, it made me understand how dialogue is so wonderfully inclusive. When we would be writing back and forth to each other, since our dialogue was conducted by pen and by paper, we would be thinking aloud with each other, and it felt very much as if we were free to think aloud and share those thoughts very freely. At the same time, it always felt like there were so many other people in the room, whether they were the people that we were thinking about and perhaps people who were no longer with us, or whether they were the people who would be reading the dialogue. And that in particular was profoundly moving to me, because this sense of words that were being shared at first between two people, but then were going to really be for everyone, and the sense that we were participating in a much larger dialogue that readers would soon be taking up and entering into. But I felt the presence of those readers even as we were always exchanging our thoughts. One powerful aspect about the dialogue as well is being able to have a dialogue continue over time. You know, it wasn't simply a moment in which we sat down and talked, or it wasn't simply a moment in which we put our thoughts down for once. This was a dialogue that was extending over many months, in fact, more than a year, with the sense that it was never going to end, that these thoughts were there for us to go back to ourselves and think about, but also at the same time for others to enter into and think about. But that, of course, takes time, and really celebrating time in a very refreshing way that oftentimes we don't experience in a society which seems to measure time in nanoseconds. This was a time that was actually a lived time, a very human and relational time.